Let's take a quick look at something I probably should have gotten a long time ago. That being something in toy form to represent Conan. This being a Conan figure from the Super 7 line, and I got the war paint version of him, just because I thought that was the most, I don't know, visually distinct. We have a nice window box displaying the figure, the alternate head sculpt, and of course his sword and sheath. For kids of the 80s, any toy form of Arnold Schwarzenegger, any of his iconic characters, I think is sort of a necessity in our toy collections. And yeah, it's amazing to me that it's taken me until 2024 to get something for or from Conan. I say it's a shame that it's taken me this long to get something representing this character in toy form for a couple reasons. One is because I'm such a huge Masters of the Universe fan, which I've always been my entire life. And if you know anything about sort of the seedling ideas that eventually became Motu, a lot of it is thanks to Arnold Schwarzenegger and Conan. The other reason is that this movie meant a lot to me as a kid. I watched it tons of times. It actually means more to me now as an adult. I actually think it's a far better movie now than when I saw it as a kid. And for a closer look. This is how he comes out of the box. You do get a different head sculpt, as well as a couple set of extra hands. But this is how he is packaged with these open hands. And that head sculpt, which I will probably display him in, this is the other one. They're both excellent sculpts of Arnold Schwarzenegger. He comes with the sheath that pegs onto his belt there. The sword is really, really nice. And it has some spattered blood on the tip. And it's really detailed, and it looks like it's made of a sort of a denser plastic than it is. It's very, very bendy, but I don't have a problem with that. And as I said, a couple extra set of hands, so let's get him holding his sword. And by the standards of today's like collector's figures, he's not overly complicated or overly detailed, but he poses really well. He displays really, really well. The articulation is more than enough. It's what you'd expect. The head's on a ball joint, but it's really stiff and it's impeded by the hair, but whatever. The arms swing outwardly, bicep swivel. The loincloth or whatever is malleable. We have yeah, everything you'd need. The other nice thing I'll say about this is that the aesthetic that they hit with these Conan figures, or at least my first figure from this line, is a really, really nice middle ground between like functional action figure and like fancy, delicate, detailed collector's item. My higher priced collector items, like my NECA stuff, I find myself being very, very delicate and careful with them. There's so many little pieces and things that can bend and create stress marks, or even little things that snap and crack. So it's really like I'm handling something with a lot of care after a certain price point. These guys aren't cheap, but they're more durable, and the aesthetic, like just the finish, the paint apps, the amount of detail in the clothing and everything, it's enough to be like a collector's item, but it is also like a durable toy. And having figures that kind of land right in between those two types of figures, that's not that common, at least not in my experience. So I really kind of like the overall look and feel of this figure. And most importantly, I am happy to finally have a representation of Conan in my toy collection.